Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Yesterday, which was April the 15th, there was a fantastic English title fights at super welterweight between the champion, Sam Gilley, and the challenger, Drew Brown. Now, it took place at the York Hall. I watched the whole card and, the build-up was fine, but seeing those familiar surroundings, I've been to the York Hall a lot, made me want to be there. But when this fight took place, I really wished I was there, because this was a very, very good domestic dust-up between Gilley, who was the champ, came in with 13 wins and 1 defeat, and Drew Brown, who was undefeated. Gilley had been quite busy over the last couple of years. He actually, the one defeat was to Danny Ball for one of those, I think it was a WBC International super welterweight title. One of those silver belt things or interim belt, whatever the hell they're called. He lost that to Danny Ball. Danny Ball was undefeated as well. Then he came back, Gilley, the same year and won the English super welterweight title. Previously, he was a Southern Area champ as well. So he's been talking about wanting the British, and then he's cleaned up at domestic level. But this was a defence of the English title. Meanwhile, Drew Brown, undefeated in 12 fights. He had won one of those boxer tournaments, which is kind of prize fighter by another name. 12 wins, no defeats, but only 1 knockout, 1 stoppage win. And he hadn't boxed for 2.5 years, something like nearly 3 years, I think. So there was a big question mark over Drew Brown. Yeah, he's undefeated. He's won the boxer series, but that's a long time to be out of the ring. And when the fight began, rather surprisingly, Brown was the busier. He didn't seem bothered about the 10-round distance. English title fights are over 10 rounds. Brown came out throwing a lot of punches and certainly outworked Gilley in the first round. Now, stylistically, the two guys were not dissimilar. I would say Gilley stands more upright. Brown, you get more feints from him. He's a little bit less static than Gilley is, but Brown was maybe gambling, considering the time he'd been out of the ring, gambling on picking up all the early rounds, doing a lot of work earlier on. Hopefully he's got the engine to last the distance, and he took the first round. I had him taking the second round as well, and in the third round, I think it was the third round, there was a clash of heads, and it was quite a serious clash of heads, and Gilley was grimacing and showing out, and there was a swelling started over his left eye. His left eye it was, yeah. And it looked like Brown was in the ascendancy, and this continued. Neither of these guys has got a bad jaw, because they were both landing flush. And I know I just said Brown's only got 1 stoppage in 12 wins, but he was landing flush on Gilley. Gilley wasn't budging. Likewise, Gilley, who seemed to have the heavier hands, he did. He's only got 7 knockouts himself, or 6 or 7 knockouts, but he looked like he had the heavier hands. So probably it was a case of neither guy being a real banger, but at the same time there were some very clean, precise punches, particularly from Gilley, that were landing. And nothing wrong with Brown's jaw, and seemingly nothing wrong with Gilley's, because neither man was really wobbled at all until the 8th round. Now, if the 8th round of this fight is not one of the rounds of the year, we're in for a real treat for the rest of the year, because this was, I thought it was an amazing round. It reminded me a lot of a really old fight. I'm going to be all obscure now. It was between Caveman Lee and John LeCicero. Dig it out on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube. But the 5th round of their fight, where they just railed on each other. And that particular fight, LeCicero and Caveman Lee, ended with Lee. I mean, Lee was out on his feet, but he ended up knocking out LeCicero in the same round. It was the 5th round. Between Brown and Gilley, no, they both lasted the whole round. Neither man hit the floor, but Brown unloaded in the first 90 seconds. He was unloading like punches were going out of fashion. Shook Gilley. I think it was the sheer intensity of the volley, of the assault, that kind of took Gilley back a bit. Gilley, very reluctant to move backwards, had blood coming from his mouth. The eye was swelling even worse. And then in the second half of the round, he took over and he starts to batter Brown. And he's landing these, I'd say, even though he fires less punches, Gilley has the sharper, more precise punching technique. With Brown, it's more sort of clusters of less weighty punches. But even then, Gilley, despite that, Gilley wasn't really budging Brown. Brown was hanging on. He was perturbed and a bit shaken. But so they go back to the corner, their respective corners. The crowd are on their feet. This is the point where I was wishing I was at the York Hall. I was thinking, why, I'd love to have gone there, this night. What a great fight! And in the 9th round, 2 more rounds to go. I had Brown ahead. I can't remember the exact figure I found. I was writing it down, but I can't remember. But I think I had him 2 or 3 points ahead, maybe. And in the 9th round, it was a little bit more civilized, a little bit less eventful than the 8th. Not many rounds are going to be more eventful than that 8th round. But then suddenly, out of the blue, Sam Gilley lands a right cross, bang on Brown's jaw, and for the first time, Brown is seriously hurt. He staggers back, bounces off the ropes. Gilley smells blood, goes straight after him. Another right cross, slap bang on Brown's jaw. Brown skids along the ropes and falls onto his back. And the referee, who, by the way, I think it's Kieran McCann was the referee. He refereed it very, very well. He's not a bad referee, Kieran McCann. I like him. I like what I've seen of him. He jumps in. It's all over. So Gilley retained the title. 9th round, technical knockout over Drew Brown. Both guys, fantastic. Credit to the sport, credit to themselves. A good old-fashioned, no-nonsense, no-frills English title fight. I love this domestic level stuff. I love the atmosphere that's created in these small halls, especially the York Hall, which is my favourite venue to watch boxing. I share that view with a lot of people, I think. But this was a terrific, terrific fight. It's on YouTube. It was part of the MTK card. But, it's on YouTube. IFL TV, I think, broadcast it on YouTube. Go and check it out. Wonderful fight. And yeah, well done to Sam Gilley, and commiseration to Drew Brown. He can come again. I don't know how old these guys. I think Brown's I think 25. I don't know how old Gilley is. He's probably about the same, maybe a little bit older. But yeah, what a great fight. What a brilliant fight. So go and check it out. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, as always. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It takes a second to punch the button. We're nearly at 500 subscribers. Ooh, how things are growing. But yeah, thanks for your time. Much love to you. More boxing at the weekend. Great stuff. See you then. Take care for now. Bye.